Alright, how's it going everybody? Welcome to this week's Stock Market Outlook video brought to you by DeepView and the Trade Lab. As always, we're going to run through the market indexes, leading stocks, and discuss the current market environment and what to expect next week. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. Leave a like down below if you do. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And if you have any questions, comments, your own thoughts, let me know down below in the comments section. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in and start with the Qs. We're about 5 weeks into the trend, which kind of started back in this area. We had the upside reversal off the 50 SMA. We reclaimed the 21 EMA. That's when this trend really took shape. And throughout this move, we'd had some really great opportunities, especially during this area. Here, we saw a lot of more speculative names really take off and go. And there's been a lot of potential setups here to take advantage of. Last week, we pushed and followed through off the upside reversals off the 10 EMA, reclaimed this pivot, upside reversal here on Thursday. But then on Friday, we did pull in, test this level, and we definitely saw some distribution as well in some key names. Palantir is one, Tesla, some fall through down, and we're going to take a look at those charts in just a minute. But overall, larger context, we're about 5 weeks into this most recent trend, and we're trending above all the moving averages. We're above the rising 10, 21, and 50-day moving average, with this longer term trend starting from these April 2025 lows. So that's the larger context. Nothing much to say here. We are currently in an uptrend. Looking at IWM, this one, similar, nice move off the 21 EMA over the past week and a half, but we did have a pretty significant fade here, and it's right at this key level, which is attempting these key highs. So logical spot for some profit taking, and we'll see if we get fall through down and maybe a retest of that 10 EMA. But this type of bar does indicate to me that maybe we need a little bit of rest, and you can see how this pullback happened after a similar bar, but we are trending above a rising 10, 21, and 50 as well on the IWM. Looking at IBIT, this has rallied significantly over the past week and a half. Very strong action, testing recent highs. But after such a powerful move, we will need some rest at some point. And we'll see if that happens next week. But definitely a theme to keep an eye on. The miners have been strong. Coinbase, we'll take a look at that chart in just a minute. There have been a lot of opportunities in the space as this is completely ripped off of these base lows, going all the way from these lows to these highs in just a few days. This is what we call a straight off the bottom move, and after a move like this, like I said, there will be a point where we need some consolidation, some back tests, let the moving averages catch up to price. But with this power, especially with these gaps, my expectation is that over the longer term, we'll be continuing on with a strong trend. And this has kind of been resting for the past, few months. So we'll see if this theme can really take a lead and really contribute to some opportunities for us as traders. So that is the market indexes. Overall, we're in an uptrend and have had a little bit of a consolidation here. And we'll see if we can kind of consolidate here constructively sideways above this pivot or near this pivot above the 10 EMA, and then reconfirm higher and continue to trend. But if we see a significant bar down closing below the 10 EMA, especially testing the 10 EMA, that'd be a sign to be a little bit more defensive and be on guard for more market weakness. Looking at the mega caps, Apple doing nothing wrong, trending above the moving averages, trying to push out these last 2 days on Thursday and Friday from this little bit of a price shelf here, and nice move off the 10 EMA here on Friday. Microsoft inside day to end last week. Overall, you're near a key pivot right here, and I'm watching for expansion next week and ideally a push up the right-hand side of this base that we've been forming since this reversal after earnings. Google, looking at this chart, pulling back into the 10 EMA, you can draw in a pivot right here and watching for expansion and a move off of that moving average, but looking healthy there. NVIDIA base breakout last week, you had a gap up and then reconfirmation and actual breakout here on Tuesday. And we had a little bit of fall through, not too much, but so far holding above the base pivot as well as the 10 EMA and looking fine so far. Good push off lows here on Friday, but we'll see if we get a little bit more consolidation and then ideally reconfirmation and the start of a trend more like this. But this has been consolidating since late July, and we'll see if we can finally push up and continue the uptrend. Amazon, downside reversal off the 21 EMA area, looks a little bit weak. Tesla, we've got this big pull back the last 2 days into the 21 EMA area. We did have a nice push off these lows here on Friday, and I was watching, let me draw it here. I was watching this level right here and the 21 EMA area, and decent push off lows, but ideally we get some consolidation here. We are right near these previous all-time highs, so a handle here within this overall cup would be constructive and would set up the next great setup for this name if you're not already in it from the breakout right back in this area. But overall trending above the 21 EMA, and we'll see if this weakness is just the precursor to a little bit more. And if we break badly below the 21 EMA, that would definitely be a negative sign. But my expectation is some consolidation, some chop here, some move up and down within these ranges. And we'll have to see what actually happens. Again, we don't have to predict. We just have to react to what's actually going on to price. Moving on, we've got Meta. This is the weakest of the lot, below declining 21 EMA, reconfirmation down here on Friday, and overall needs to just find and basically form a base bottom here and start to turn up, but so far is just in a short-term downtrend. So most of the mega caps look healthy, but we do have a few signs with Meta here, as well as Amazon a little bit weak. So we'll see how these shape up. This is just within an overall base, so we can see if this can start to put in a turn here, and again also move up the right hand side of the base. There are a few other key names that I definitely want to bring up. First of all, we've got Palantir. This is, of course, has been a model stock since this area here, really back in 2023, over 1,000% move. And last Friday, we had some news come out that basically had some negative things to say about the company and security. And we saw a very sharp bar down, closing near lows, pick up in volume. This is a negative sign. There's a failed cup and handle breakout, and we'll see what happens after this bar. If we have a quick snapback, that would be ideal for the bulls, but likely if we do see follow through, it suggests that there might be more weakness to come. And this is a later stage base in the overall move, so some weakness could be expected here, and we'll see what Palantir has in store for us. We did have some tradable spots up here, but it's been choppy in this handle. And this bar does give me pause and suggest to me that there might be more consolidation needed. It reminds me of this bar. It reminds me of a lot of bars that are kind of the start of a longer term base. So again, we don't have to predict what happens, but take it as they may. And likely I'll be focusing in other areas unless we get a very quick snapback and a strong bar early next week, getting us back into this range and then setting up follow through higher. But again, we'll have to see what happens with Palantir. Reddit, another key name that is showing some weakness. There was news events recently about how Google has changed their algorithm, which negatively reflects on how much Reddit is being used in these AI systems. That kind of takes away a little bit of what Reddit had going for it with regards to the AI theme. And on a technical level, we had a fade here, break below the 21 EMA, failure off the 21 EMA again, gap down. And now this becomes kind of the key level to stay above, to potentially form out a base low. But we'll have to see what happens. And right now we are in a downtrend below declining 21 EMA, below the 50 as well. And we'll just have to wait and see whether we hold above this level. But overall, this name definitely looks a little bit weak. Going a little bit more to the positive side, let's bring up some of the names that have been acting well. These names, quantum names, have been acting super well. Strong breakouts back in the early September area and reconfirming off the moving averages. But a lot of names are kind of short-term stretched. And going through my screens, I wasn't too impressed with the new opportunities. There's a couple here. Gold has been trending nicely. And for a swing trade, Barrick, let me type that in. Barrick potentially move higher, but this has moved pretty far from the base. So this is more of a swing trade type opportunity than one you'd want to commit a whole position trade type setup on. So we'll see what happens with this name, but very tight. So there are some spots, but not nearly as many setups as I've seen in prior weeks. So we'll see what that means about the market, whether we have a little bit more of a rest, consolidation early next week. That would set up the next batch of pivots and would be constructive. But we'll have to actually see what happens next week. Going into some of the best movers from this past period here, let's sort that. BKKT from the watch list. I did not trade this, unfortunately, but absolutely ripped over 100% from this very aggressive entry right here. Very strong. And this gap up on big volume is what told me to keep an eye on this name. And then a pivot through this upside reversal high acting well. Growl continues to act well from this range breakout back in this area. If I draw it in, here's the tight setup day. Here's the range breakout. and trending beautifully, but we do have a big fade on volume and potential short-term topping sign here. Whether we see a pullback to the 10 EMA tightening remains to be seen. We'll see if this falls through to the downside. Other names are acting well. BE continues to trend beautifully. BTU also in a similar theme. Nice move from this tight low volume range and breakout, and now just extended. So there's a lot of names that have moved fantastically over the past few weeks, and now potentially are getting a little bit short-term extended. So another reason to be a little bit more cautious, not to be as aggressive. Even though the trend remains up, you just have to wait and see for your setups to appear. And if there are no setups, then there's no trades to really be taken. Let's see if there's any other names I really want to focus on. Hood, really nice breakout here on Monday, reconfirming, acting really nice, and just trending and away from the pivot environment. This was the best spot that I highlighted here in the Trade Lab, the pullback to the pivot, and then the bounce since has been very, very strong, up about 30%. Coin, along with the crypto theme, has acted really nicely, reclaiming the 21 EMA here on September 29th, and then with not much give back at all, just rallying quickly up the right-hand side of the base. We've now filled this gap, so I'd expect some consolidation and maybe a handle to form, and if it does, that would be a tight consolidation to keep an eye on. But overall, those are most of the names I wanted to cover today. I'll be covering my watch list for early next week in tomorrow's video, and while I'm doing so, let me know in the comments any names you'd like to hear my take on. I'll present and analyze a bunch of those live in that video as well. So let me know 1 or 2 names you're watching for next week, and hopefully I'll be able to share my thoughts. I'll try to cover as many as possible. But hopefully this has been helpful to you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like down below if you did. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys in future videos. Take care. Bye.